is off the board almost immediately.
Yeah, no surprise against Ryu. And obviously also with SK actually losing to Z yesterday from Forbidden. And it is a champion actually good against them because SK loves to play a lot of individual play, like 1-3-1 focus for them. And that's where Z can be a real pain. Also Aurelia actually in this case to kind of one-on-one you and shut you down in these split pushes they like to do.
See what H2K answer with. So far ban the Kassadin out. And for H2K too, it seemed like their win yesterday, they were just better at playing the standard game than the Unicorns in that situation. They've got to be riding high going into this and knowing that SK is fallible. It's really, they can take advantage of the same holes that Fnatic found. It's
really been a big thing for H2K. The timing they use on their comps of when you can fight and when you can push, they use it really, really well. 2 wins last week and also against Unicorns, how they managed to avoid that mid-game siege the Unicorns could have pulled onto them. Actually waited it out, just got 2-3 items on Orianna. Then they looked really team fighting. That was just, again, great timing by them and knowing exactly when you can use your champions and the power spikes you do have to your advantage.
Right. Nidalee off the board was taken away for Svenskeren, who had that monster game on it a few weeks ago. Lissandra also taken away. Now H2K thinking long and hard about this last ban because there's a lot of powerful picks available. The Narvin combo, it looks like it's going to go through. They banned the Graves.
Yeah, so for SK, normally here they would take a Zir, but this again is on 5.3 where he has been nerfed quite a bit actually. So for them, is it going to be Gnar suddenly coming in? Will they try and get the Jarvan for Svenskeren despite him actually losing out yesterday? No, we're looking towards the mid lane instead. And oh, actually, just missed it here. With the Z and Kassadin, again, you kind of ban out the counters to the LeBLanc. So it's a fairly free first pick for SK where they don't have to worry too much about the lane matchup.
Right, they clearly had that plan. And remember, before this, Fox had not played the Ahri in the the LeBLanc in the LCS. He brings it in and he just blows people up with a 10-0-3 on that one. However, this has left H2K with their pick of the jungle and the top lane.
Yeah, again, they can go for Gnar Jarvan if they want to, but we often see teams take Rek'Sai over Jarvan now, just because she's a bit stronger in the early game in terms of their dual potential. And also her ganks, fantastic with the fact that you can tunnel over so many of the big walls, where most of the other champions can actually go over their wall and also still gank after. Because that's always the problem for Jarvan. If you use the EQ combo to jump the wall itself, he has to wait for those cooldowns before he can really go in. Where Rek'Sai, yes, you won't have your tunnel to close the gap, but you will still get that knock-up just by moving close to people and getting an auto attack range. So that's always a small advantage for her. Now instead H2K, leaving that jungle open.
Yep, they grab the Gnar, they grab the SK Gaming now eyeballing the Rek'Sai themselves. And I think the Gnar is a pretty heavy priority pick, but they could have taken both it and the Rek'Sai. I think they're really prioritizing, though, this support Annie.
So they want to take Annie away from nRated, despite it actually being his worst champion. We have seen him play. He's normally a lot better on disengage focus supports, not the ones where he has to make the big plays. And they're basically telling SK, do you want Jarvan, do you want Rek'Sai? If you take the Jarvan, fair enough, we get a fine jungle pick for ourselves, which we're very happy about. If you don't, we get this Gnar Jarvan combo, which used to be the 5-0 one, now has lost quite a few games, but it's still so insanely strong in terms of team fighting. Especially when you're against a team who rely a lot on their AD carry. When you have a Gnar and a Jarvan to jump him in the back line and you really try and shut him down, then you can somewhat eliminate him from fights.
Right, so they get to hedge their bets in that situation. SK are going to go ahead and grab that Rek'Sai. Also the Kennen. Freddy did, of course,
I've seen it before, yeah.
He did have that pretty solid game on it.
Was banned by Fnatic, and again, Kennen got a few buffs coming into this patch, especially the W1 now that allows you to max that one in the laning phase, making you a lot stronger in the early team fights compared to beforehand where you would max Q for the lane. And then that would obviously mean you only had single target damage outside of your ulti, but it wasn't that powerful now because you can use this W as soon as people are in your ulti itself, meaning you can max it and actually get good AoE damage. And it looks like H2K not going for that job and instead want even more peak potential with the Rengar and Sivir. It works the same way as we have seen Elements try and play against SK. If you want to split up in a 1-3-1, we're going to hard engage on you and never mind the Rengar for now.
Well, they go to the Lee Sin.
That's honestly, in my opinion, the worst jungle option they can take against SK.
They do have a lot of chase, but I agree. It's a little bit weird that they didn't go for the Jarvan, not just because of the Gnar combo, but because they have so much chase down here. They have the Sivir-Annie combination bot lane that was so deadly in the opening weeks of the LCS. They have a Gnar, can hop, close the gaps, and when you take a look at that, Forgiven's thinking about something a little bit different here. Goes for the Caitlyn. We haven't seen him play anything but Graves or Lucian.
Yeah, it's been an old pick for him. Back when he played for Copenhagen Wolves, it was one of his main picks. Always full focus on winning his lane, getting that early tower, and then he quickly rotates to the other lane. Fast pushed him in. Lulu coming in from nRated wouldn't be a surprise. Very, very strong early lane from them and a lot of fast pushing potential. These waves are going to die so quickly. And that's why SK now can play their typical style. You have the 1-3-1 setup with Kennen in one lane, LeBLanc in the other one, and you have this Caitlyn Lulu for wave clear. And also for the tower damage you can do. If H2K suddenly falls behind, these towers are going to die very, very quickly.
SK Gaming in the comfort zone right now. Will H2K find an answer to be able to shut them down?
I really want to see what loulex is going to do on Lee Sin, because normally into Rek'Sai as well, that's not even a very good matchup for the Lee Sin. Rek'Sai, if she's very good, can dodge, basically block his Q, so when he goes in for the second activate, you unborrow and you actually knock him up so you don't take that damage. But even without that, you have a fantastic ability to one-on-one him, and you lose out on that hard engage ability, which we normally see some teams at least trying to pull off against SK Gaming. So when they split up in the 1-3-1, you have that hard engage to just go on to Forgiven or whoever you want to, kill him, and then force SK to back off and suddenly go back and defend.
Ryu is going to pick up the Ahri. Had some mixed success with that one. I think probably you can see fairly happy with that one. No emotion really on the side of Inner Flame. He doesn't reveal much, that poker face.
A little bit of a tricky matchup though for Ryu in this mid lane. Also after the Ahri nerfs with more mana cost on her Q, so LeBLanc can really decide when to trade early on with her distortion, and obviously no Spirit Rush yet before 6 for the Ahri. It's a bit of a tricky matchup for him. Not the worst, it is a skill matchup, but SK Gaming are looking for some fantastic strong lanes, going back to what they normally love to do. Dominate the laning phase. Every single player gets an advantage, so he becomes so strong that the other team can one-on-one him or 2-on-2 them. And then again, you split up in this 1-3-1 and you push down every single wave. loulex on Lee Sin is going to have to make some plays early if you want to do what Reynoa did for Fnatic against SK to try and shut them down.
Precisely. Although H2K Gaming were the ones coming up with the win yesterday, it's SK Gaming that aren't going to have quite as much pressure on them. And I really want to see what H2K are able to do early on, because they have the makings of what can be a good pick-and-chase composition. They can grab individual targets. We'll see if they can pull it off, though. Let us know what you guys think. Go ahead and tweet at LOL Esports with that hashtag SKWin or H2KWin. Let us know if you think H2K can make the difference this time around against Europe's best. We're going on to the Rift. The crowd is getting fired up. Our last game of the day, our last game of the week. SK Gaming versus H2K, and it starts right now.
And two very explosive comms here from both the teams. We're going to have a lot of action in this game, that's for sure.
I have my eye on that mid lane. Anytime you got the LeBLanc, Ahri, Fox, and Ryu, it should mean some fireworks.
And again, this Lee Sin pick here, it's simply because loulex want to make sure he can actually make some plays early on. He didn't want to Rengar, so he had to wait for level 6, and he would risk getting invaded by Svenskeren. And Jarvan, well, that again would, in my opinion, probably been the best pick for them, also in the comp as a whole. But we have seen the Rek'Sai Jarvan matchup a few times, and it is a bit tough for the Jarvan to really catch up.
Well, there are a lot of ways to escape from Jarvan on this side of SK, but all the same, I feel like, yeah, in general, unless you really want the Lee Sin kit to work in your favor for picking up quick kills like that, that's about the only thing I can see. And if your mechanics are going to be able to pull that one off, so it's definitely a risky choice for H2K.
And also, it does give him a kick for the Kennen. So when Kennen tries to go in for the engage, you kick him back, and you hopefully burn his ulti. Because Kennen has always been a champion who relies so much on his ulti in team fights. Once it's gone, he doesn't really offer too much after that. So if you can manage to kick him away from loulex, then again, that explains the pick. But it does mean he needs to play near perfect in every team fight for it to really work, compared to, again, the Jarvan, the Rengar, whatever other options they had.
Looks like we might have some standard lanes around here. Forgiven and nRated haven't shied away from this. Not going to be able to spot Hjarnan and KaSing moving on up through the river.
Yeah, and for SK in this case, they're fine actually doing both lane swap and standard lane. They want to see KaSing and move in, get a good early trade. No jungle camp being taken. And some fast push from Hjarnan here. But just look for SK to play really aggressive in the laning phase, both with the Kennen and, of course, the Kate Lulu here. Early pushing in. They want to get down these 2 outer turrets, like we normally see from them.
Going to attempt to do that one as the game begins. Forgiven really wanting to trade this one out early. The zoning pressure from an early Caitlyn is not to be denied, but nRated's the one who's taken quite a lot of abuse across the rest of the side of the map. Top side jungle starts for both loulex and Svenskeren.
And normally, or well, if we go back to like last year, they would tell us, okay, the early focus is going to be on the bottom lane, but now that the junglers do recall, often after getting the 2 buffs, we don't really know exactly where the focus is going to be. But we do see this Caitlyn Lulu taking control of the lane early. Lulu is, again, one of the best supports at level 1 and 2, just because of her passive coming in. You basically have to burn through her mana pool, and a support like Annie's not able to do it because she has no sustain to then kind of like out-sustain the Lulu itself. Right. And that's where it's often a bit of a tricky lane matchup for her, especially early on. Oh,
and it's so annoying to deal with, the harassment that you can throw out there. Up at the top lane, Odoamne and Freddy are going to just grab themselves some of that sweet farm. Going back to the mini Gnar form. It's going to be hard for Freddy to actually get a quick catch onto Odoamne. He's been playing. Odoamne has really actually leveled up in the last couple of weeks, I feel, as a player.
It's been very solid.
His positioning rapidly improved.
He looked good in their expansion tournament, the Challenger Series, but he's just coming here to the LCS and clearly not been anything in terms of nerfs or adjusting to the scene. He's actually been good from week 1 for H2K. And you just have to wonder what this team, I mean, could have been. They were used to have Forgiven in the mid lane, now playing for Fnatic. Ryu was the replacement, and while in terms of purely one-on-one, Ryu has done a good job, we have still seen some problems between him and his teammates due to simply the lack of communication.
Right, H2K hopefully able to not let that worry them too much here. In the bottom lane, it is being shoved in, the typical SK bot lane dominance. The rest of the lane's actually not looking too great for H2K either right now. Farm advantage in the middle for Fox. Yeah,
I'm very surprised H2K actually took the standard lanes, even invaded in knowing SK was on the bottom side and didn't try and swap away from it, because Caitlyn is a hard counter to Sivir in the laning phase. You outrange her completely and you outtrade her so easily, especially also with a Lulu on your side. So this bottom lane is going to go so heavily in favor of SK that they're going to take a tower, get a massive CS advantage, and then they're just going to swap Forgiven and nRated to the top lane after, where Kennen is going to have basically a farm lane against the Gnar for now. And then they're going to push down a second turret, and suddenly you have these auto turrets gone, and it's always the risky thing. If you lose your auto turrets to SK, that's the way for SK to get information, because then suddenly they can push the minion waves further down to the tier 2 turrets. And again, they have that short route through the jungle to out-rotate you, and they suddenly don't need the wards on the map because they can see you sit in your tower defend every time because you're not strong enough to fight them. And that's why you cannot lose these auto turrets against SK so early on.
Yeah, you definitely can't lose the early game either. loulex is going to try to make something happen, but Fox is going to be dashing away. And it's Ryu dashing back in. Slightly better trade for him, but he had some jungle help.
Hjarnan had to get a long sword on this first
Svenskeren.
Svenskeren, yeah, he's waiting for loulex.
Caught between a Raptor and a Void Burrower. Svenskeren is going to say thank you very much. I'll gobble up that camp.
No early ganks for him. Just been doing the standard Svenskeren style, getting a little bit of a counter jungling in.
Both of them running the Trailblazer too, not particularly interested in that one. Forgiven is actually going to take quite a lot of damage as he gets stunned up. Hjarnan gets turned around, the Peacemaker. Oh, the Ignite! Do they have enough damage? Not quite! That's a heal. And Forgiven protects his KDA again.
Both the AD carries here running away from the enemy support. Quite a trade, and actually a good catch from H2K onto Forgiven. He was stuck there taking minion damage as well. It's a good trade from them. Of course a heal, so a lot of summoners being blown down here, but none of the junglers looking to gang.
Svenskeren actually going to move onto Ryu, who's going to be able to dash to safety. As we say, here's the flash, Forgiven. Do they have the damage? It's First Blood. Hjarnan coming up with a pick onto Forgiven in lane, looking for nRated as well, but they don't have enough in the tank.
Yeah, one of the summoners still available was that flash from KaSing. Forgiven stayed in the lane, low HP. Nice play here, really punishing him for a bad trade first, and then staying in the lane where the Annie could flash and stun him.
The lane synergy that KaSing has brought since he's come in.
Look at them on the player cam.
Really, yeah, they're just so happy. I mean, they talked about it in that video. Definitely a good impact in the first few games KaSing has had on this H2K squad.
And it's hard to describe how important that kill was. It actually meant that Hjarnan could go back, get a pickaxe himself now, and start trading back with Forgiven a little bit, start wave clearing, at least against him. So this means suddenly this tower is not going to go down that fast just from getting that kill on Forgiven. So well played by H2K.
Well played
even guards can bleed, remember.
Oh yes. They can also out CS. You can still see those numbers pretty big there, but that kill is going to help even the score a little bit for Hjarnan in the bottom lane. Meanwhile, taking a trip up top, double Doran start for Freddy. Still a bit of CS over Odoamne. KaSing now taking a little bit of a roam. Going to try to clear out that Rek'Sai tunnel, and Ryu will join him while Fox is pushing the minions away from mid.
I like this early ping as well from H2K, and a lot of wards around this mid lane, because it's always been the weakness of SK. But look what they're doing. Changing up the styles. Double ping ward. One for your mid lane and one for your jungler. That's not something we normally see. So clearly SK have already learned something from the loss yesterday, and knowing that you can't just play to, or well, you can't just play by, or win by stomping your lane because you're better individually than whoever you're facing. You have to at least get some map control early on.
Right, very valuable lesson for them to learn. And they didn't seem too perturbed by it yesterday, to be honest. Even after that loss, you saw him on screen Forgiven. As he wraps up his mouse and keyboard, he was smiling. And you got to think that they were able to take that lesson quite quickly.
Yeah, the thing is, as a team, you're already 8-0 at that time, before the game, obviously, against Fnatic. So you know you're looking towards the playoffs and a good seed in the playoff itself. Getting a loss is not always a bad thing, because it makes you realize, okay, how exactly did we lose here? What weakness did the team exploit, and how can we fix it? So I actually think for SK overall, it was good for them to lose a game and realize that, hey, we're not unbeatable.
Absolutely. See if they can rectify that today. So far, still pushing in versus H2K. A little bit of a gold advantage. Not a huge one here, though. And they have invested more in those wards so far. H2K likewise have tried to control a bit of this vision. Dragon Pit is lit up like a Christmas tree, at least around it. KaSing dropping the Tibbers on Forgiven and nRated. They also get the Boomerang Blade around there. Got to be careful, though. There is a Void Burrower hiding.
Oh, he's going to see KaSing walk straight towards...
Oh,
no, he's sending in a Tibbers
face check. Brilliant.
Good play.
Very brilliant. So they're going to be able to walk away from that one. Nice move by KaSing. Hjarnan, they even get the ward cleared away. And Tibbers gets smited for all his trouble.
Getting that 50 gold for Sven, but that was a nice little play by KaSing. Sending in
much
Tibbers
cheaper
first.
than losing your life.
For sure. And again, this kill they got earlier has basically stopped Forgiven and nRated from fast pushing that lane. So H2K is buying a lot of time for themselves here.
Yeah, still losing out on some of that sweet, sweet CS, but they haven't been able to dominate quite as hard as they normally would like to. Ryu pushing the wave into Fox. It's been a very quiet lane considering since the one gank attempt Svenskeren made earlier on, but it's not too bad for Fox as he finds himself up about 20 CS.
Yeah, this is what we normally see in this matchup, where again LeBLanc will get the early lead because she's the one deciding when to fight with Distortion, and Ahri can only respond by really landing the charm or time the AWP deception really well. But now again with these mana changes to her, it becomes a bit harder in the laning phase, and we're more reliant on the blue buff suddenly. So this is pretty standard for that lane, and H2K knew that going into the game.
Right, and Ryu is a guy with a long-standing pedigree of performance. Definitely knows these matchups inside and out. Not too worried about being a little bit behind early on. The Merlin-Nomicon completed by Fox as he backs away. Everything else settles out 11 minutes into this game. Yet to be some huge action. But in an SK game, it is only a matter of time.
And they are slightly ahead, but again, this is not this type of early game we typically see when SK win games. They already have a goal lead by now. On average, before the Fnatic game, they had like 1,400 goal lead at 10 minutes.
That's been cut down here to about
and now,
607.
Yeah,
oh, it could be
nice
a little
job.
bit less than a moment. Fox taking quite a lot of that, but Ryu nimbly steps away from the chains.
And Ryu not going all in here with his ulti. He didn't have vision on the top side because there's a ping wall being placed by SK, so he couldn't really go for the kill, not knowing where Svenskeren was. So instead, saves the ulti to get a good trade for himself, and now he's going to place that ward. We'll also spot a pink. And he made the right call.
Too. Both junglers hanging out up in this top side, but loulex in plain sight. Svenskeren Sweeping in the tri-brush, not going to find anything. KaSing on a roam here, too.
He knows he's not spotted. There was a ping ward on the way. Well, okay, there can be a ward here, but Fox is not
he's going to flash Tibbers. They get the stun. After the fact, he moves away. Mimic is popped. Ryu's not able to get the charm connecting, but it did cost Fox a summoner.
Good roam here by KaSing, forcing the LeBLanc back to base. Svenskeren is now in here to defend. Nothing happened in the top lane. Just a few early roams. Ryu getting a lot of damage on this tower as well.
H2K being very proactive, though.
Yes.
Maybe not as much with loulex, but the rest of the team has been really, really proactive in trying to punish SK for moving too far forward.
And every single hit on that mid turret is going to be a big deal for H2K, because now with Hjarnan doing so well in his lane, despite being slightly behind with the kill, getting that BF sword as well, kind of surviving the early stages of the Caitlyn, he can actually push in his wave very, very often and slowly chip away in that tower. Once it's dead, because the mid lane is already down to 50%, and he can move in there after, fast push that one down, and suddenly you have 2 outer turrets for yourself. He's going to get this one now. Forgiven's not going to be able to get there in time. Next focus is the mid lane, get that one down, and suddenly you have a goal lead against SK.
Right, that's not something we see too often indeed. And H2K Gaming off to a great start. This one evened up the gold count. Got a little bit of vision around the side here too. SK, they have been investing more and more in wards than we've seen in previous games. However, H2K have still been able to get the jump on him a couple of these situations. 1 tower to none in favor of H2K.
Well, been all about KaSing, honestly. He was the guy to set up the first spot. Good roam in the mid lane as well.
Ooh, on the hunt.
Hjarnan.
Well, yeah. Ooh,
one for trade
there's
here.
the net. And really, you've got to be careful.
Oh, Odoamne is coming behind them.
Yep, he's nearly in Gnar. There's a flash for it. Forgiven is going to be able to get out of this one. Teleport now for Freddy, and they're going to even the score. It's going to make them think twice about full engaging. loulex making moves into his own jungle. Might find Fox in just a moment, but Fox is going to find him. Takes down half his health bar and gets a flash for his trouble. Here comes Odoamne. Forgiven is into the wall. Wild Growth is on Freddy, though. Zoning KaSing and Hjarnan away, and he's going to get polymorphed. Take quite a lot of damage on that, and H2K decide maybe they don't want to kill Forgiven that bad.
Nobody ends up dying here. H2K, not sure if they knew Freddy was still in the lane, if he had already recalled. Obviously, a Kennen with his ulti can zone your way fairly easily. So no kills. Close attempts, but nobody dying. And SK putting a bit of focus here. Let's be careful. He's all alone.
Yep, chains Ryu. He could be in some trouble, but it's Fox who looks like he's about to be taken down. They give that one to Ryu. Good guy, loulex.
That was a bit of a solo play, trying to clear pink ward in a very risky spot where everyone else from your team is already either back in base or very far away from you. This is going to be the mid tower as well. H2K off to such a good start, really punishing SK for being maybe a little bit too individually focused right now, especially that last kill was fairly simple for them.
Yep. loulex now, he's going to try to find nRated, but he's
got
got some help from KaSing. Hello, you flash, but you still die. KaSing coming up with one for himself, and that's about Dragon time.
Exactly the same as before, though. A guy trying to clear ward on his own, catch him out. KaSing on this NA here, really roaming around a lot. He's been such a good player for them. He's been here now for 2 weeks, and he's not lost yet in the LCS with the H2K.
So far, a pretty good record for them. They take Dragon #1 as well. SK Gaming falling a little bit flat here, and they can't really go in either of the jungles without having some trouble.
And now SK get the same problem they had yesterday, against Fnatic, where you fall behind in global gold. So suddenly you're not strong enough to split up in that 1-3-1. You actually have to sit back and defend against what H2K is doing, and then you're forced into 5-on-5 team fights, and that's not where SK normally shines. They shine on their map control, their individual ability to kill people one-on-one or pressure them down to a tower at least. That's going to stop right now because H2K has played this early game so well.
Exactly, and this, since that's so crucial to their identity so far, we'll see how that affects their game going forward. Wild Growth onto Fox, but he's stunned up anyways. They're going to drop the Tibbers on his face, and both him and the clone, they tried to juke it. KaSing is going to pick up another kill.
I really like Annie against these mobile assassins in the mid lane, because she just walks up to you, clicks Q on your face, and you will get stunned. Then you can tip us after, and you just single out a target like that. Another kill for H2K. Just missing that top lane turret, but they don't really need it at this point. Gnar can just sit and farm against Kennen, and they might be able to just take over the bottom side of the map instead and push down this mid and bot lane for them.
Yeah, he has been so instrumental here. You gotta be careful not to get caught up. Svenskeren is able to clear the ward away, but they got a pink for that one. Reward that brush up. Oh wow, Ward Wars. Okay, Svenskeren's going to back off from this one.
One by the H2K.
Oh, hey, it's grab time. Oh.
That's close.
Yes, it was. The rest of the team now, yeah, they've got to find an answer to H2K running them around the bend.
You have to remember with the Caitlyn, if she doesn't win her laning phase, then she has a very hard time for the next 10-20 minutes before she hits 3 items on her. Because the mid game is very poor, especially compared to Sivir with the utility she's going to bring. So SK looking for the room. loulex, he's reading it. He's already sitting here. Gonna trade a bit with Svenskeren and just make sure they don't dive Odoamne.
Yeah, really, really nice to abuse SK's blindness in here. And Hjarnan actually going to push down the bottom side. Of all the AD carries to send split pushing, I feel like Sivir's probably a pretty good choice. They're going to get some serious damage on that one, although Forgiven is making moves down there to try defending. He's taking the long path.
And it's so fun to see because this normally is SK doing what H2K doing now. You push every single lane at once, and now they're even going for Freddy.
Yep, they should be able to find him. He connects with the Sonic Wave. Resonating Strike goes in. Freddy using his mobility, but the house! You can't escape. Hjarnan could be in some trouble, however. Gonna heal on the hunt at the same time. Big speed boost. He makes it out. H2K 5 kills to 0 versus SK Gaming.
And that's gonna be the top lane going down as well now after that kill. While Hjarnan was buying time in the bottom, and even still, like with the ulti they're going for.
Oh, nope, Fox is out.
Jumping away.
Comes right on back in. They've got a little bit of minions here. Rio's not going to try to go too crazy. The charm won't connect. The chains will, however. Fox looking for some revenge. Here comes Svenskeren. Maybe they overstayed their welcome. A couple of knockups. KaSing, he's polymorphed. SK Gaming find a double kill for Fox in the mid lane.
I think you said it right there, Pyra. Overstaying their welcome just a little bit. Ahri had gone back to, Hjarnan got back to base. Ahri, that was another game. And while you had the Lee Sin and Gnar in the top lane as well, still going for that risky dive. And in the end, SK do manage to come in and actually get a few kills for themselves. Now, need to be careful. Odoamne and Gnar, he's looking for kills.
And he's looking for Mega Gnar at the very least. nRated, Svenskeren. The range a little bit low. They're going to turn their attention to him. Here comes Forgiven. Odoamne going Mega Gnar, throwing another house at nRated. He seems to have Yordles on the menu. Can he get another? Yes, he can. A third one would do it, but it's Hjarnan who picks that one up with a nice boomerang blade. 2-6 is the score. H2K. Not much to take on the bottom side, but how about a side of crab?
Odoamne is going to be huge again. Warmock's already in. Went straight
and
to
a
Maul Mortis for him against the double AP from SK, knowing that the Caitlyn won't be able to take him down fast enough, won't be able to burst him down, so that Maul is going to pay off a lot for him with some extra AD whenever he drops low end. Freddy, my friend,
could be in some serious danger.
You are toast.
Looks like he's ran out of a charge. They triple team him, and they give that one. It looks like anytime now over the Rio.
Come on, KaSing, you got to grab that one.
Yeah, he's already got 2 kills on the board. The kill, KaSing stands for kill secured, but not this time.
KSing for sure. Good old KaSing.
Odoamne looking to 1v1 Svenskeren. Got a little bit of time on that Gnar charge, but he's actually going to hop up. 2-level advantage here. He's got to be careful because Fox was coming to the rescue, but H2K really seemed to have got SK's number so far.
And Freddy, he pushed up the lane. He had one ward in the river to try and see what was going on, and obviously he never got to spot H2K coming up to kill him. That's another tower for them. Hjarnan is trying to defend the bottom lane at this point, but H2K, they don't care. Yeah, you can lose 1 tower. You got 4-0 already. You have taken full control of the game, and we're hitting this mid-game point now where this Caitlyn needs a lot more time to scale up. And while she won't get that time because there's enough engaged on the side of H2K to just keep forcing picks and taking down towers.
Even more towers, so H2K
locket
here.
Completed.
Yep, they've got that locket. They've got that gold edge here, a really serious one. And SK Gaming, I wouldn't say they're scrambling, but even with that 2 picks on the board, which they were able to punish H2K for earlier, just individual outplays where they usually shine, H2K have really taken it to them.
Yeah, H2K have always managed to out-roam SK in this game here. KaSing has been roaming around on this Annie a lot. nRated is not a support who makes those kind of plays, especially not when he's playing the likes of Lulu. He's always sitting with his AD carry. And that's why H2K said, fair enough, we can have our Sivir on her own, while KaSing can move to the mid lane over and over. He's been part of so many early kills on this Annie. And then obviously with loulex, kind of reading Svenskeren again, always being there for either counter gank or the gank beforehand. Dragon will go down.
Not stolen away. There's the teleport. Yeah, loulex, he's going to try to run his way out of danger. Fox is going to get popped by KaSing again. Hjarnan in a little bit of trouble himself as Forgiven slides his way to a kill in that one. However,
Gnar.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1. Gnar incoming. It looks like he's not quite got it. There we go. Gnar against the wall. In comes Ryu. SK Gaming trying to answer back. They find Ryu as well. It is a 3-for-2 in favor of SK, but they've lost another dragon.
They lost another dragon. We saw H2K. They didn't really want to fight yet. They were waiting for Odoamne to get closer to that Gnar, so he didn't actually join the fight before it was a little bit too late for him. And SK managed to get a few kills at least for themselves. 2 for Forgiven. That's going to be important. Let's see it again. So notice how Odoamne here, he's trying to stack up his rage here, get towards that Gnar for the fight itself. The steal doesn't happen for SK. The fight is on. You don't see any Gnar. He's not part of this fight at all. Good ulti from Freddy. Using that W now. Remember, people just got to be in range of your ulti, and then you will get the W damage. Now Odoamne can finally join, but they've already lost it and even get poked down quite a lot before Gnar comes in. Forgiven. He's not level 1, by the way. That's
yeah, that's a bit of a...
In case you
a
were
bit
confused.
of visual confusion. Nonetheless, note his positioning in that fight. Able to sit in the back, draw attention away from himself, and then he just slides into the pit when everyone's already evacuated from it. That's what he's done so great here. And it's actually very surprisingly had so much trouble in lane because his positioning has been so impeccable. KaSing now, ooh, that is a value ward.
So he actually deactivated the ward first, and he didn't hit it. That's why SK couldn't see what was going on, and then he backed away, and then they could clear it. Focusing here. 3 kills and 3 assists on Annie. So Odoamne, had he just had a bit more rage and got that Gnar earlier than H2K, would have had a very different fight.
Yeah, it is definitely very timing based, but SK, if the fight happens on their own terms, they seem to have no trouble taking it. They've come back a little bit here. Still have to be careful, have to defend this siege from H2K.
And what H2K is doing, they're seeing Freddy. They know teleport is down from the last fight in the side lane. He always sits there and farm, and instantly they just go 5 mid lane, get a lot of damage on the tower, and force Freddy to recall. That's one way you can play against SK and make sure you eliminate that 1-3-1 split push they love to do.
Oh, and look at this. We have got a classic death rush here. The question is, will SK take the bait? Oh, the tremor sense. You can't move when there's a Rek'Sai on the board.
Spotted by SK. Still staying 5 together for them now. Trying to get a bit of control around this Baron area. And also, top lane is actually pushing in. Same for the bottom lane. So they can go and push it, but won't really be able to do it in time. And honestly, we're just going to get a lot of 5-on-5 team fights here between these two teams. Whoever gets the right engage or the proper vision down before the fight starts should be able to win it, especially because H2K side, when you have flash on Annie, pop the Sivir ulti, tapers onto the likes of Forgiven, the likes of even the Kennen here, before he can then activate his Outlast, you can take him out.
Yes, indeed. They've been able to move around, try to separate away from Freddy, but if he does get those perfect zoned engages, H2K have been having some trouble. Let's see what they do going forward. Still the 2 dragon advantage to them. If they get this next one that's coming up in a little bit, they will have that extra move speed boost to move around SK. They've grabbed the tower already. It does seem to be all about that mobility, all about that quick in, quick out, guerrilla warfare style of play.
I actually think H2K here, they could split up themselves in their 1-3-1 and just pressuring down the lanes. Gnar into Kennen at this point with the Mortal Mortals and so much HP for Odoamne. That's a lane where he can at least keep it even. And then Ryu is actually going to be stronger than the LeBLanc at this point. So if you have them in the 1-on-1, that's in favor of H2K, and suddenly they can actually push down at least 2 lanes at a time and start doing what SK normally would do, and then really spread out the map and use your early lead. And also that opens up for KaSing to then roam from the mid lane together with loulex and then create a very, very quick pick on one of the side lanes. But they have stayed together, which has actually bought time for SK Gaming to get some farm in. Freddy's been in the side lanes. He's on 235 on the Kennen. And again, you see him there. He's not getting punished at this point for just sitting and farming.
No, right. They're roaming together too well, or too much rather. And SK Gaming, like, you know, that's fine. We're just going to keep putting pressure on the side lanes, try to dry you away. Now that Dragon's a minute away, however, it starts to get really frantic. You sent Odoamne up top. He's got the teleport available. Both top laners do, really. But you see Freddy actually making the slow way there. And while the vision's controlled by H2K for the time being, all it takes is for them to start backing off, and SK can move on in.
Yeah, exactly. And just by always pushing the lanes, you force H2K to always go back and defend those lanes from the minions. You see the LeBLanc doing exactly the same. Bot lane is pushing in. Freddy's going to go back to the top lane, push that one back. So basically now H2K is allowing SK to sit and farm. I really want to see him play more aggressive in that 1v1 and just use KaSing and loulex to roam between those lanes, because once you push them down to the tier 2 turrets, that's again where you get that situation where SK always have to run back to their own base and take the long route around to defend their lanes, while H2K can just walk straight through the jungle because they know where everyone is, because they push them down to the towers where they're sitting and defending. But just been waiting for dragons. They have, I mean, they are 2-0 on that, so that maybe they're just saying we're gonna play the long game here and go for 5 dragons.
It just seems a little uncharacteristic if you take a look at their performance yesterday. They punished the Unicorns, they forced them to fight on their own terms. Maybe they don't feel that they can do that against SK Gaming, but it just seems a little bit different from what we expected coming into this match. Now, Dragon's actually going to get procced by a Peacemaker from Forgiven. And H2K, they're making moves towards it, but both the top laners are off in their own island. Dragon actually going down very quickly. Can Svenskeren come in for the steal, though? He's certainly going to try. It's not going to go in. Teleport now coming in. They've zoned KaSing out Fox. The fight, though, is happening back at the pit. Svenskeren taken low. Freddy got 3 members caught up in the pit himself, but he should be in some serious trouble. They blow their spells a little early. Meanwhile, though, Odoamne zoning the rest of the team finally goes down. Fox is going to pick up a clean double. However, Svenskeren on the retreat path. Those tunnels saving his bacon right there. It is a 1-for-2, but H2K again come up with the dragon.
Yeah, they get the dragon, but they lose the fight itself. Gnar wasn't ready for Odoamne again when he teleported down, and Freddy, despite coming from the flank, didn't get the perfect ulti off by himself, but he did buy enough time for SK to get 2 kills.
How cool ahead do you have to be as Forgiven when you're being chased and you still have enough time to grab the Scuttle Crab? Oh, that's okay. I'll grab that. I'm on my way out.
Let's see the fight again as well, because it was a good TP timing, or good fight start from SK. No Gnar for Odoamne, and again the flank coming in from Freddy at this point. So while he doesn't get the perfect ulti, he's still zoning out loulex, Hjarnan, and Ryu, or keeping them at least in the Dragon Pit while Forgiven. And obviously the rest of the team in the backline, we don't actually get to see it now. Can get at least 1 kill.
Yeah.
2 kills now on Odoamne.
A little misplayed. They shoot the spells out too early. They didn't time the Zhonya's correctly for H2K, and I think they may have had a bit better timing. Had they been able, or if they had a bit better timing, they may have been able to salvage that, maybe make it a 2-for-2, 2-for-3 in their favor. Still, SK Gaming, they're not getting the objectives where they need, but they are able to outfight. And if it does come down to one of those big late-game explosions, that is where we have seen them shine.
Yeah, and again, we have this Caitlyn who's been able to really farm up 2 items completed. It's going to be a last whisper soon for Forgiven, and he has that average blade, which has given him currently 529 gold for himself, which obviously gets into the static shift later. So he's quickly going towards this 4-item spike on the Caitlyn, where she suddenly becomes one of the great hyper carries in the late game, and Kennen as well in late game team fights is fantastic. So they're fine. Finds him, yes, okay, you don't want to lose all these dragons here because now you have to worry about the 5th one. But they can fight for the next one and be a lot stronger, because then Forgiven should have his items completed. And H2K has not been able to use their lead for anything. So they're just playing that dragon game themselves, which we have seen a few times. And now Ryu actually going to the bottom lane, trying to set up a little trap. And if Freddy shows himself, could be Yordle on the menu.
Could be possibly. Now, Ryu trying to push this wave in. The rest of H2K in and around that jungle. See if they're confident enough to push in. You know, Svenskeren and nRated are there, so it won't be free. In the mid, Odoamne is actually starting to shove this wave uncontested, but H2K aren't keen on taking this fight. Seem to be they don't want to until the dragons are up.
But this is a start here. You take 2 lanes and you start pushing them down at the same time. You know you can't really siege on SK because of this Caitlyn with the wave together with the Lulu. So that's why, again, you're trying to split it up a little bit. At least get the minion waves pushing down, so you force SK to set their own turret, and then you move into the jungle. You deny full vision here, but it's just so hard for H2K to do because they're not that strong anymore.
And they're denying buffs too. Importantly, Odoamne is actually able to grab that red away. So the gold lead evened out a little bit. It's still 2,000 to H2K. It doesn't mean quite as much at 31 minutes as it did before. And the 3 Dragon advantage, that's really pushing them in that edge right now, but they're still not confident that they can take the fight. Maybe get some picks. Ryu's waiting very patient.
Look at the minimap here. There's still some good wards from SK to see if H2K is actually moving around in the jungle. So that's why, again, Forgiven here can still take a fairly safe route despite Ryu waiting for him in the bottom lane here. So again, we're not really seeing H2K choke out SK. Bind them a bit more time. It's not over yet for them. 3 dragons still. It's the game they're playing, the long game, the 5th dragon one.
Well, as we saw yesterday, even a team with 4 dragons to none can end up losing. SK Gaming, I'm hoping that happens here. Still starting to even up that gold gap. A lot of waiting in brushes here to see if they can get picks. So again, nobody wants to take a straight up fight. They're playing a little dirty.
Ryu can look good. There's so many wards for SK, so they know where they can run in this jungle. They don't really have a reason to fish this one for Ryu.
There's the charge. Oh, it
just missed.
Looks like it hit, but by a pixel.
Very
Fox
close
is going to be wiping the sweat off his brow there.
Static shift completed.
Got to leave
for
more
Forgiven. And there is a lot of armor coming in for loulex and Odoamne, so not having that last whisper will hurt him in this next fight, because there's going to be a fight in about a minute's time for this dragon.
Yep, KaSing's going to take an ace in the hole, has to back away. Tower's actually being pushed by SK here. I do like how they've controlled the vision a lot better this game, or at least pushed in a lot more wards than they usually do. Even if a lot of them have been in their own jungle. They grab that outer turret. They've now got the 3 outers themselves, looking to set up control of the Drake pit.
They already have a lot of wards, have a pink wall placed in a small bush in the middle of the river.
Oh! What just happened there? KaSing. I just saw his health bar going down. I got to see that one again.
I think he caught the LeBlanc trying to jump the wall. I mean, this is going to be 4 dragons for H2K now. What a great pick for them.
Long enough death timer. They're looking for more, though. Odoamne is about to go Mega Gnar. He can zone anyone away he wants. And they're actually going to start pushing in middle, even without the wave. Oh, the house. Svenskeren could be in some trouble. He's going to dodge out, bob and weave. He gets away from that one, but you're right. Dragon's about to be alive.
And bot lane turret here. Big wave already. Ryu's going to take it. So get a tower now. You got to kill, and you're going to get the 4th dragon. Suddenly, SK Gaming needs to start to worry.
Going to be able to clear some waves. Actually moving up towards the Baron right now, and this is being pinged out. H2K know this is happening. You're going to leave loulex
no mid laner, so H2K should be able to stop this one very easily.
They're just trying to draw pressure here.
Yeah. You see Odoamne staying. SK Gaming were hoping for H2K to give up that dragon and now rush to the Baron itself, but obviously with Odoamne staying and now the rest of the team joining in, no reason to leave it. loulex will be able to finish this one.
Smart response for H2K.
Great response.
Their bets yet again. 4 dragons to 0. 34.5 minutes in, and now they're in a great position to start pushing mid. SK have to back away here. They're using the blue pills, and there's a wave approaching.
Let's get some damage.
A lot of damage,
it would look like. Well, yeah, again.
No, not enough fast response, and now the inhibitor is bare.
Sven wants to flank on them. He's going in now. We're going to have a fight.
Yeah, we are going to have a fight. Svenskeren, here comes Freddy. They get the knockup, and H2K could be in some trouble, but the Mega Gnar comes in. Svenskeren getting low, taken down to double kill over to Hjarnan, and they have turned it around. It looked dire for just a moment, but the flankers were flanked.
They can go Baron here. Odoamne has teleport ready, so you can go and heal up, teleport down to a ward. This should be Baron for H2K as well. That was a very nice fight. It actually looked bad in the start with SK with the flank and the ulti from Freddy, but he didn't manage to outlast in time, so he ends up dying for it. Now teleport coming in from Odoamne.
Zoning Tibbers too, they knew exactly what they were going to do.
Should be Baron for it.
They have studied the video, they know exactly what SK want to do, and they know how to beat it. It looks like Fox waiting in that brush, but that is not a safe place to be. The charm is going to land Fox. He's just gone.
So while we had like the last 10 minutes being fairly slow, it's just been H2K waiting for these dragons here, and then as soon as they get a pick on them, they get the 4th one, go straight down, push the mid lane, got a great team fight, got the Baron. They are looking really good now all of a sudden, turning on the power again.
I don't care what kind of wave clear you've got. Forgiven, you can't push against this team. Another charm lands on Svenskeren, forces him to tunnel away from that one. Inhibitor tower going down once again. They've got the 4 dragons. They've got the Baron buff. loulex going in. He's going to get turned around, but they find the inhibitor. They chase him around. They find nRated as well. They're going to back out. No, they're actually just going to
so many minions here.
They've got a big minion wave.
Still, 30 seconds on nRated.
3 seconds on Fox. They're going to get a little more damage now. This is the safe path. This is the safe path. This is still SK Gaming. However,
and you have 4 dragons to 0. You don't need to risk it.
Take a breather for just a moment, because H2K Gaming, they have just looked so good at countering this SK style of play.
It's really been from the early game for them. They was so well played. They got the early towers, they got the kill onto Forgiven as well, which simply meant SK could never get to play their game. 2 times we've seen them now being behind, and 2 times they look to be losing from them. When they can split up in their 1-3-1, suddenly the other team can actually dictate the map. And H2K has just been a great story this season here. Coming in, so end up in the first week, getting that 0-2. Then they go 2-0 the next week. It's like, oh, H2K looking really good now. Then they replace Voidal, get KaSing in, get another 2-0 week for them. Might actually messed it up here. Might was 2-0 the first week, then 0-2. But the point is, they got KaSing in, and from there on and out, it's been some fantastic games from them. And they're sitting now as a top 3 team in Europe.
And if they up at the number 1,
SK as well.
Yeah, this could be a massive boost for them, not just in the standings, but the confidence. SK Gaming, though.
Gonna flank around them again here, or hoping for a face check.
Oh, that was close. Yep, Forgiven gonna run. Okay, that one's spotted. Ace in the hole coming out. They try to bail away from this one. Do they have it? Svenskeren, he goes in way too early, and he gets taken out by Ryu. SK now in full retreat. Here comes Freddy. Got his Zhonya's going, but it's only going to stall for some time. He's going down. Hjarnan with the unstoppable kill. Inhibitor tower number 3 now being poked down. The waves have been stopped temporarily, but SK Gaming, even when they have the flank, they just don't have the finish. Tower 1 down. Looks like inhibitor number 3 is about to go as well. SK, they're on the cusp of losing 2 in a row.
2 in a row. Nobody would have expected that coming into this week. H2K, they have all the super minions. They're going to buff them up as well. This should be game for them.
Yeah, H2K pushing on forward. They've got the mini waves all over the place. Fox can't do much to defend it. He's going back in to try. They're going to be able to zone him out. loulex is still down in this one, but it doesn't matter. H2K, 38.5 minutes, pushing forward, and the League of Upsets continues.